Hello everybody and welcome to the Import-Export Hub channel weekly or monthly newsreel rather. Bogdan here, your long-forgotten host for the next couple of minutes. I hope that you are all doing great and that you've recharged your batteries. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope that you had a great summer. And guys, without further ado, in the following minutes, I'm going to cover the whole month of August from a macro perspective if you want. Focusing on just two indicators that I personally find very relevant. The first one is related to the freight rates, not necessarily the Baltic Dry Index, which is used for commodities, but the usual Freightos index. And the second indicator is related to inflation. And guys, for those of you wanting or waiting import-export news, I promise I will make up to you in the following weeks. But before I scratch the two indicators that I was telling you about earlier, let's start with a quiz question for this video, which involves golf balls, and it goes like this. So who was the largest importer of golf balls in the world in terms of value in 2021? And the options here are Japan, the Netherlands, or the United States. And guys, the correct answer is the United States, who imported close to $304 million worth of golf balls, which I made a calculus earlier, translates into roughly 427 million balls that have been imported. Japan comes second with some $92 million worth of imports, while the Netherlands comes third with $71 million. And with this really useful piece of information, let's see how the Freightos index behaved while I was sunbathing. And as expected, on both the Pacific and the Crossways head holes, the trend is moving downwards, with a mea culpa moment here regarding the Trans-Pacific lanes, who I thought personally are going to be more docile in terms of variability, volatility. Well, it seems that I was wrong and we have a larger volatility here. On the other hand, the Crossways ones are also volatile, but not as much as the Trans-Pacific ones. And I think that this could be explained by the fact that the highly fragmented European importers forecasted their sales better, which goes in contradiction with the principle of supply chain stating that aggregate forecast is better than a non-aggregate one. But guys, whatever the reason is, the current general index sits at $5,286, which is 7% lower than the previous week, with big movers here involving the North America West Coast to China sub-index, who picked up 11%, while on the other side of the spectrum, we have a 21% fall for the sub-index connecting North Europe to China. Now, going deeper into the trade lanes, as usual, I will start with the Trans-Pacific head holes, and we have here $4,797 for the sub-index connecting China to North America West Coast, and $8,364 for the sub-index connecting China to North America East Coast. Moving now to the Crossways ones, for the sub-index connecting China to North Europe, we have $9,128, while for the other one, so the one connecting China to the Mediterranean, we have a 7% drop from the previous week, which translates into $9,563. Still room to fall, if you ask me, especially for the Crossways ones. So let's wait together and see what this autumn will bring to us. And now, guys, moving just slightly off topic, I want to cover one news that I got my hands on. You know that I have a fetish about shipping alliances and consortias. Well, this comes from supplychainmovement.com. And basically it covers the topic of Consortia Block Exemption of container shipping, as the European Commission recently launched a review So pressure is mounting, guys. First it was the United States who flexed their muscles, and now it's time for the European Union, as the current block exemption is set to expire in April 2024. And for this, the European Commission seeks feedback on performance, or lack of performance, if you ask me, of the current exception. We have here a nice page in which you can submit your feedback. Of course, if you are from the European Union, we have a couple of them coming from different businesses across the European Union. Then we have this nicely call of evidence paper, which covers the political context, purpose, and scope of evaluation. And here I will highlight only the fact that finally somebody took the responsibility of assessing if this regulation is still fit for purpose, and that will take into account three important considerations. The first one is related to the trend towards consolidation between the carriers. The second one is related to their vertical integration. And finally, the third one involves the cross-membership between consortia since 2020, with a review of the two horizontal block exemption regulations. Don't worry, guys, I'm not going to cover more, and you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. The lobbying race officially began, also in Europe. And when I say that the lobbying race started, I don't make hazardous statements, as I've checked what the World Shipping Council did. And well, they are not losing precious time here, as they've published a news where they are excited to welcome 3 new team members to, and I quote here, further its work for the future growth of a safe, secure, and sustainable shipping industry, end of quote. And we see here that the first person they've hired is basically a lobbyist who worked, wait a minute, for one policy place, supposedly a well-known EU affairs monitoring organization, aka lobbying consultancy company based in Brussels, Belgium. It's on the integritywatch.eu website, who basically monitors all the in-house lobbyists and trade or business associations. If you don't believe me, I will leave the links in the description below. So basically, guys, World Shipping Council, 3 days before the EU evaluation of the Consortia Block Exemption Regulation was published, released this news in order to help them with the so-called effort towards a safe, secure, and sustainable shipping industry. Sorry, I don't buy this at all, and that's why I said that officially the lobbying race has begun also in Europe, and it will remain to be seen if the Dutch, and I underline here the Dutch Commissioner on Competition, Ms. Vestager, will finally remove this exemption, or I don't know, at least adapt it to the current context in order to have a more transparent market in terms of liner shipping. Personally, I think that it will only be adapted with strict considerations regarding vertical and horizontal integration, with a possible, I repeat, possible reconfiguration of the alliances. Of course, it's pure speculation coming from my side, but the ego in the shipping industry is so high that I won't be surprised to see the current alliance members transforming overnight into fearful enemies. Now, guys, getting back to the second topic that I wanted to cover, so inflation. Sorry, guys, I know it hurts, but it is important, and whether you like it or not, it will touch you. And we have here some figures coming from GlobalData.com, and sadly, their main headline indicates a forecasted inflation around 7.5% by the end of this year, driven by food, fuel, energy, and supply chain disruption. We have here the breakdown with Middle East and Africa. It seems that they will be hit the most, with close to 20% inflation. Europe close to 8%, the Americas with 7.5%, while the Asia Pacific region will be affected less, around 6%. The International Monetary Fund compiled the figures based on two variables, so advanced economies and emerging and developing ones. And as expected, industrialized countries have the resources if you want to better tackle inflation in the years to come. And if you want to go deeper, at least for the European Union, you can see the inflation for each country. And I have here the dashboard coming from the European Central Bank with data for all the EU countries. And sadly, we see here that the Baltics in July had an inflation above 20%. Central and Eastern European countries between 10 and 20%, while Western and Southern European countries are hovering around 10%, with the tourism sector helping Greece, Spain, Portugal, France, and Italy. Why not for the summer? But personally, I'm afraid that the figures for September or October are going to be at least 2 to 3% up. On the other side of the Atlantic, so in the United States, we have the figures coming from the US Bureau of Statistics, and sadly, also in the United States, there was a 8.5% increase year on year, with energy and food contributing the most for this figure. Guys, I am not an expert on monetary or fiscal policies, but my guess is that in the United States, inflation is going to peak and then decrease soon, while for Europe, prepare yourselves, guys, winter is coming. Sorry to make such a pessimistic ending, guys. I wish I had other figures. That's all for today. Thank you all for watching. I really hope that you've liked it. I'm glad to be back. And as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.